Under the blazing lights of the StubHub Center, the air trembled with anticipation. Two elite technicians of the boxing world stood in opposite corners, each representing not just skill, but a different philosophy of fighting. Vasyl Lomachenko, the Ukrainian phenom, two-time Olympic gold medalist and master of angles, walked slowly toward the ring, his blue and yellow flag draped behind him like a silent storm. His face was still, focused, almost meditative. Across the ring, Gary Russell Jr., the pride of America, shadowboxed with electric precision, every movement sharp, fast, and deliberate. The crowd erupted as the bell approached, the kind of roar that feels like thunder trapped in an arena. This wasn't just another fight. This was Lomachenko's statement to the world that greatness could come quickly if you had the courage to reach for it.
For this fight, he was one and one off to quick start.
Yeah, very much so. Almost put him down.
Recent fights, Lomachenko.
That's his viewpoint. Either way, he is far advanced, and that was a
And for Russell, it was validation, a chance to prove that speed and discipline could dismantle even the most praised amateur to ever lace gloves. The opening bell rang, and the air seemed to stop. Lomachenko's first steps were cautious, reading, measuring, decoding. Russell exploded with blinding hand speed, snapping combinations to the body and head, looking to test the rhythm of the Ukrainian. Lomachenko's eyes didn't blink. He took it all in, every punch, every feint, and began to return fire with surgical precision. By the end of the first round, the crowd already sensed it. This would be a chess match, disguised as war. In the early rounds, Russell's speed was mesmerizing. He darted in and out, his gloves a blur, firing 3, sometimes 4 punches before Lomachenko even twitched. The American crowd roared with each rapid exchange. Russell's subtle pivots, microscopic shifts, head movement that defied angles. He wasn't just avoiding punches. He was rewriting space itself. Then came the Ukrainian's first warning shot, a short left hand that split Russell's guard and echoed through the arena. It wasn't a devastating punch, but it was symbolic. A message that timing, not speed, defines a master. Round after round, Lomachenko began to step inside Russell's combinations, countering between blinks, finding patterns in chaos. Each time Russell tried to reset, Lomachenko was already there, pressing forward with that eerie calm, that relentless pressure born of discipline and genius. The crowd, once loud with American pride, began to murmur in awe. They weren't just watching a fight, they were witnessing the science of motion turned into violence. Art, painted on canvas with sweat and sound. By the end of the third, the fight had transformed. Midway through the fight, the rhythm shifted completely. Lomachenko's footwork began to trap Russell in invisible cages, subtle steps to the side, pivots that forced the American into uncomfortable angles. Russell tried to respond, letting his hands go in furious bursts, but Lomachenko's counter left hand kept finding its mark. It wasn't the raw power that hurt Russell, it was the accumulation, the precision, the fact that every shot seemed to land exactly where it was meant to. The crowd's cheers now mixed with gasps. The Ukrainians' combinations flowed like water, fluid and unrelenting. Between rounds, Russell's corner urged him to pick up the pace, to mix in feints, to stop letting Lomachenko lead him like a boat. But the problem wasn't strategy, it was the rhythm of genius. Lomachenko was rewriting the pace of the fight, forcing Russell into a dance he didn't learn. Sweat poured from both men as the rounds deepened, their gloves a blur of color and light under the spotlights.
To the center of the ring. That was a nice move by Russell.
The commentators could hardly keep up. What they were seeing wasn't domination, but transformation. By round 6, Lomachenko was no longer adapting to Russell. He was dictating. Round after round, the sound of leather striking flesh echoed like thunderclaps. Russell, ever the warrior, tried to rally. He dug deep into his speed, flicking sharp combinations and catching Lomachenko clean at moments. But the Ukrainian absorbed and replied with frightening calm. A jab, a pivot, a left hook. The sequence was poetry. Lomachenko began attacking the body, ripping hooks beneath Vasyl's elbows, then darting up with blistering uppercuts. The crowd's energy surged again, half cheering, half stunned, as they realized they were witnessing something rare. A fighter with barely 3 professional bouts, outclassing one of the fastest men in the sport. Lomachenko's precision became merciless and fought back bravely, firing combinations of defiance, his pride keeping him upright as the fight's rhythm slipped further from his control. Between rounds, Lomachenko's corner stayed calm, their advice simple. Keep painting. And he did, painting a masterpiece in motion. The bell rang again, and the crowd stood, roaring as both men traded vicious combinations at center line. The war was no longer about power or speed. It was about will. By the 9th round, fatigue began to creep into Russell's legs. His once effortless movement now showed resistance, his speed losing that razor edge. Lomachenko sensed it immediately. He pressed forward, stepping inside the jab, landing punishing hooks to the ribs, and slicing left hands through Russell's guard. The American tried to clinch, tried to reset, but the Ukrainian's rhythm was suffocating. It was rare, an American crowd cheering a foreign technician, but respect for the post diligence. Still, Russell was far from that. He fought with heart, his pride refusing to quit. In flashes, his speed returned, his combinations still dangerous, his defiance admirable. But Lomachenko's precision was too sharp, too exact.
Now these rounds,
each round seemed to tilt further toward the Ukrainians' favor. The exchanges grew more desperate. The sound of each punch landing echoed like the ambience of history. This wasn't just a contest, it was a coronation. Lomachenko was carving his name into boxing's upper echelons, one counterpunch at a time. In the championship rounds, both men emptied their souls. Sweat sprayed under the lights as gloves collided in furious bursts. Russell's determination burned bright. Every punch thrown with pride, every counter a refusal to surrender. But Lomachenko's expression never changed.
Standing still, even if he's working in the pocket. Russell doing a good job of forcing the pace here.
Calm, focused, methodical. His footwork was still a storm beneath still water. Each pivot pulling Russell off balance, each angle exposing a weakness. The Ukrainian punished the body, snapped the head back, then stepped away before a counter could find him. The commentators called it matrix like, but even that felt insufficient. Lomachenko wasn't dodging punches, he was predicting them, bending time itself with reflex and rhythm. The crowd stood on their feet, applause rising with each exchange. When the final bell sounded, both fighters raised their gloves high. Russell out of defiance, Lomachenko out of quiet victory. The audience roared in appreciation. They knew they had witnessed a fight that would be studied, replayed, and revealed. The ring announcer stepped forward, microphone in hand, as both corners waited in tension. The judges' scorecards were closer than expected, but the result was undeniable. A hush fell, 115 to 113, Lomachenko. The crowd cheered, 116 to 112, for the winner by majority decision. And before he could finish, the roar of approval drowned him out. Vasyl Lomachenko. The Ukrainian smiled softly, relief and pride washing over him in a single breath. Russell nodded, acknowledging the better man that night. The two embraced, a gesture of mutual respect between warriors who had given everything. Lomachenko had done it. In only his third professional fight, he had captured a world title, proving that experience, artistry, and brilliance could accelerate destiny itself. The camera panned across the ring. Sweat, light, applause, history. And in that moment, boxing didn't just witness a champion. It witnessed the birth of a legend.
And now, the WBO Featherweight Champion,